Welcome to Latino Americans with your host and narrator, Jacqueline Torres.
Everything you need to know about Latino history by the author Himilce Novas. She is an expert in Latino history, culture, literature, and human rights. We will start today with why isn't Puerto Rican migration considered immigration, and how did it get started? Since all Puerto Ricans are U.S. citizens, no matter if they dwell in San Juan or San Francisco and not foreigners, they can travel freely back and forth between the island and the mainland United States without passports or visas. In other words, their movement constitutes the internal migration of Americans, not immigration. Confusion abounds in mainstream society about Puerto Ricans' citizenship status. Most Puerto Rican mainlanders have a story or two to tell about the time they were asked about their green card or Puerto Rico's currency or Puerto Rico's president, and more than one media pundit has pontificated on national television about the issue of illegal Puerto Rican immigrants in America. Puerto Ricans first came to the United States in the 1860s. After Puerto Rico was ceded to the United States at the end of the Spanish-American War, more Puerto Ricans began making their way to the United States. And after 1917, when they were given U.S. citizenship to the U.S. mainland to settle or to sojourn, an experience fraught with risks, uncertainty, and obstacles, including a language barrier, poverty, social isolation, and overt discrimination. In the early days, the majority went to Florida and New York to labor in cigar-making shops. 40% of those who arrived between 1890 and 1910 eventually returned to Puerto Rico. The first great wave of migration from Puerto Rico to the mainland United States took place only in the aftermath of World War II and lasted until 1967. The reasons were many, but they essentially boiled down to one issue: economics. During World War II, about 100,000 Puerto Ricans served in the U.S. Armed Forces. Military life exposed these islanders to the superior quality of life on the mainland, fueling their desire to move north. In addition, Puerto Rico's population doubled in size to 2 million during the first quarter of the 20th century and continued to grow at a rapid pace due to improvements in medical services. With so many more people on the island, the standard of living did not rise substantially, and the unemployment rate soared. By contrast, jobs on the mainland were plentiful. New York City was a major destination for these Puerto Rican workers who found low-paying, labor-intensive jobs in the manufacturing sector, which eagerly hired unskilled and semi-skilled workers, making apparels, shoes, toys, novelties, and electrical goods, and assembling furniture and mattresses. They also went to work in the food and hotel industries, the meatpacking and baking industries, distribution, laundry service, and domestic service. About half of all these workers were women. Since 1967, Puerto Rican islanders have settled on the mainland in spurts, depending on the health of the United States economy and the mainland job market. Those who went to New York City in the 1960s generally wound up in manufacturing, even though this sector had already begun a gradual decline as early as the 1950s. Then in the 1970s, New York City was gripped by a major fiscal crisis as businesses packed up and headed south and overseas in search of low-wage, non-union labor. This shrinking of the manufacturing sector had a devastating effect on New York City's Puerto Ricans, who generally did not have the formal education needed to fill the white-collar jobs that were opening in the city's growing service sector. It should be added that for many decades, Puerto Ricans migrant workers, about whom most Americans are not even aware, have worked on a seasonal basis harvesting potatoes on Long Island, fruits and vegetables in New Jersey and New York State, tobacco in Connecticut, and sugar beets in Michigan.
Thank you for listening to Latino Americans with your host and narrator, Jacqueline Torres.